Hi, everybody. Let's just quickly see how discipline is seen in a Montessori environment. I have my notes, so I'll be looking on my laptop. Please bear with me. If I say, in the words of Dr. Maria Montessori, the undisciplined child enters into discipline by working in the company of other children, not being told he is naughty. Discipline is, therefore, primarily a learning experience and less punitive experience if appropriately dealt with. And yes, you can master the skill yourself and try it at home, but it'll take a lot of time and patience. So, yes, sorry. When you bring to mind the word discipline, what type of image comes to your mind? So, if you're like me, you're grown up in an environment which was traditional, then you might think of discipline with just one word: hitting the child, and a traditional form of disciplines. You'll probably associate being undisciplined with negative consequences, being put on timeout or sent to the principal's office, or a note of being sent home. So I'll start with an incident that happened yesterday. Yesterday, there was one particular boy, 4.5 years, and he was not listening to anything we guided. His seniors told him, captains told him, even the juniors reminded him of his rules, but he was not listening. So I told him, okay, we've had enough. You're disturbing the whole class, and everyone is worried. Let's just hold my hand and we'll have a little talk. We'll go to my office. And he just told me that you can't tell me to do that. I'm sorry I was behaving like this, and I will behave in a better manner from now on. And he did. So we won. I wasn't even punishing him. I told him, let's just have a talk in my office. And that worked. So you don't need to do anything with children. You need to understand where they are coming from and be a little patient and have a little trust in the system. In general, when we think of discipline, we view as something which is imposed on us by an adult. Um, our concept of discipline is not one which is passive. Our concept is very active. So when I told that child that we'll go to the office, I told we will go to the office. I didn't say you go to the office. Um, it is not adult imposed obedience, but one which is active, purposeful, and self mastery. Dr. Maria Montessori's quote, again, I will say from this book called The Discovery of the Child. It's like the Bible for us. In our system, we obviously have different concepts of discipline. Every child is different, hence, we have to have different things for different scenarios. The discipline we are looking for is active discipline. We do not believe that one is disciplined only when he or she is artificially made as silent or mute or finger on the lips, or motionless, or paralytic. Such is not discipline. We calm them down. We try to put them in a calmer space. We try to talk to them. We claim that an individual is disciplined when he is the master of himself. Again, he or she. Again, going back to the child's example I was giving, eventually he decided and he followed through. So it was a win-win. And controlling himself or herself when he or she must follow a rule of life. So our rules are very clear, they are very particular. Our goal in Montessori is not obedience but self discipline. We don't want them. That's why we keep on telling the parents, also requesting you that please don't tell them, if you don't do this, I'll complain to Falak. Please don't do that. Falak is what? Falak is just a human being like they are. I'm in charge, right? But that doesn't make me sit at a higher place than they are. Absolutely not. So that's why we do not use timeouts. Instead, for us, it's a peace corner which has fairy lights, which has a calm space. If a child wants a storybook, they will sit there and no one will mock you sitting in the peace corner. We have our peace corner. When we are getting too worked up, We just go to the teacher's toilet, wash our face, calm down, do deep breathing, meditation, and then come out. So everyone needs peace, right? And we don't have till they enter the final year, when we are transitioning them and teaching them the traditional form of reward. We don't have any stars, any stickers, right? Rewards only come in picture when we are helping them transition to a regular school setup. Yet, when parents peer into a Montessori classroom, what they see are students who are working calmly, peacefully, and diligently. If your child has spent a few months in Montessori and they have normalized has nothing to do with therapy or screening the child. No, normalized as per our environment. They become one with the environment and they are disciplined. In our environment, it's usually easy to recognize a new child. See, he or she is the one who keeps on running around, going from one place to the other, interrupting people, touching material, being nosy, bumping, poking. Yet, in a matter of few months, so please, new parents, have a little patience. In a matter of few months, when parents come to visit, they watch them work. So that's why we have in February, we have our observation where parents will see the magic in front of their eyes. They see him or her setting a table, pouring grains, pouring water, focused on their work. They see him or her walking about with a newfound grace, a newfound poise. They notice that how willing he or she is to work and show the parents working within the classroom rules. Again, first year children who have joined us now will be comfortable and normalized sooner if they're more consistent to school. The big question is, how do Montessori children achieve this sense of discipline in a matter of months? Fundamentally, we view self discipline as an important discipline form, not imposing discipline. Again, we do a lot of consistency, we have clear rules. We follow what we want the children to follow. That is very important. Prepared environment come into picture. That's very important. um, for having a self-disciplined child, the teacher needs to be self-disciplined, and that doesn't mean strict necessarily. I'm far from strict to my children. I can be strict to parents, but I am not strict to children at all. Still, they are self-disciplined. And when you ask, why isn't my child behaving like this at home? I ask you, are you providing the same environment at home that is provided in school? Are you as disciplined as us as adults? Are your children in your environment as disciplined as the children in our environment? You need to answer that on your own. The first and most important task. So if you see transparent classroom of new children, I'm sorry, this is a cluttered space, so I need to kind of work around here. If you see transparent classroom of new children for months, there's nothing on it, because our first and foremost task as Montessori primary guide tackles with new students to help him or her find an activity that calls out his or her name, not really, but that attracts him or her, something that engages his hand. It can be rolling chapati for atharv, or it can be cylinder blocks for kritik, or it can be spooning for sambhav, or it can be number rods for Gisandria. So I'm just taking a few names here. Often the activity is something which is simple, pouring water from one pitcher to the other, grating carrots, solving a puzzle. Always it is an activity that engages the hand and mind of a child, and something that allows the child to repeat physical movements. And repetition is very important for us. When the child repeats, it leads to perfection. So if your child comes and tell you that they did chandan paste every day for 6 months, please don't get worked up. Dr. Montessori says normalization comes through concentration on a piece of work. For this, we must provide motives for activity. We will not have a random activity put on our shelves. Every activity has a purpose. So when you come for our observation in October, you will see that. It's so well adapted to the child's interest and they provoke his or her deep attention. The essential thing is that for the task to arouse such an intense interest, it need to engage the whole child, his thoughts, his actions, his mind, his eyes, his hands, every need to thing need to work in tandem. When we see a new child connect with the material and repeat, I'll give you this quick example happened yesterday. Samanvi, who joined us in August, Avza was giving her a pink tower presentation, and the way she was holding the biggest pink tower with the exact movement that Avza was giving her was a win for us, as much as a child solving long division sums is a win for us. So for us, each win, big, small, is equally big. For you, it might be, this is so small, but it is not. She's working, she is just about two, a little over two, and she's working on her muscle grip, on her core strength, on her large motor skills, gross motor skills, fine motor skills. It is very tough for a 2-year old to do that, right? And for her to understand that this is how it is to be done because the adult has shown us in the perfect manner. Okay. All right. It is why we work hard to help children see different activities and then decide their calling instead of assigning work. So in a final year, what happened? We have planned work because we have a set time with them, and final year things become a little schoolish, but we try to give them free time as well. That is also important. They know once their planned work is over, they can do whatever they want, and we will not in any way stop them because they've earned that, they've deserved that. Even if they don't want to do a planned work, they have an option that I'll do it tomorrow, I want to do this now. Though most of them don't do that, they want to finish their planned work off. In contrast to traditional schools, which exhort the child, pay attention, look here, look down. As Montessorians, we understand that purposeful attention comes from concentration, and concentration comes from repeated activities. In Montessori terminology, the need from within are very important, and that's why every child we work with, we understand their areas of development, and we also understand what are the needs that they are working on right now. Only after the child has practiced directing his mind towards something that he or she finds fascinating is that they will be able to direct his or her attention voluntarily. So for me, I'll give you an example of two captains. There is Ishan Vikas, who will finish his planned work within an hour and wants to do all the other activities he's seen. There's a Bhavan who's finished his planned work within an hour and still wants to go back to writing, reading, math. So each child is different. We don't have to force on them. They decide what's working on them, and they are both doing equally well. Who am I to decide? They're doing their work well. In addition to directing and helping them focus to become disciplined, the child also learns to control his or her body, sitting cross legged, hands on your lap, using inner voice, using walking feet. Please see, we are not saying no shouting. We are saying use indoor voice. We are not saying no running. We are saying use walking feet. And that's how what we do as teachers as well. If we show children exactly how to do something, this precision itself seems to hold their interest. So even if you see, at times I feel so sad. Some schools just take Montessori material and they say we are Montessori inspired. No, you aren't. Till your teacher is not trained on how to hold each single peg, how to trace each single each single sandpaper letter, how to hold a long number rod. You're not trained. So these small attentions that we pay to we not only work on their gross fine motor skills, on their development, muscle movements, they also help attract the child to the activity. To have a real purpose to which the action was directed, this was the first condition. So, even pouring grains, we show them with precision, we show them with movement, we show them with slowly, every step is broken up into 10 steps. That's why when we were getting trained for a year, our eyes were hollow. We didn't know what sleep meant, we didn't know what family meant, nothing. Order and precision is very important for a Montessori guide to follow. In our classroom, we provide purposeful activities that encourage the child to control and refine his or her movements. And when a child places a heavy knob cylinder slowly on his or her chalky, trying to make no sound, or carry a spindle box with so many 40 plus spindles with making little noise, that is when it is a win for us. Our guides support the process of constant modeling. I must have said this to you so many times. Dr. Maria Montessori said, if there are 30 children in your environment, remember you have two eyes on 30, but those 60 eyes are on you, so you need to behave in that particular manner. She said in the book Absorbent Mind again, how can we expect them to do their work carefully and patiently if care and patience are among the missing gifts? It is like saying walk nicely to a person without legs. Qualities like these can only be given by practice, never by commands. I really hope this video is seen again and again and followed by parents. The tendency which we stigmatize as evil in little children between 3 to 6 years of age are often those that cause annoyance to us adults when not understanding their needs. We try to prevent their every movement, their every attempt to gain experience and independence in this world that they are as much a part of as we. The child, however, through natural tendency, is led to coordinate his or her movement and to control collected impressions from the environment, which is the best form of learning, especially sensations of touch, feeling, seeing, hearing. Of course, a Montessori classroom is not an environment where anything goes. So you must have heard of the phrase freedom within limits. Freedom within limits. We have 10 rules maybe, but they are very specific and clear. Our captains follow it, we follow it, our older children who spent more than a year with us follow it, our younger children who spend more than a couple of months with us follow it, try to follow it. So that is our akkas follow it. That is, everyone needs to be on point. And what happens when they don't follow? We make a note, we have circle times, we have grace and courtesy lessons, we tell them, we verbalize, we dramatize, we show them. It's our object to help the child get accustomed to an activity for work, for doing good, and not immobility and passivity. So we might help Mesha to walk in between mats, to not bang into the chalkies, to not poke into someone. We will help her we will help her control her movements and still walk. Walk she will, but she'll know how to do that. So that is very important for us. It's very important for us to not restrict them from doing something which is natural. Anyway, after first grade, if they're going to a regular school, hope they don't. They go to an elementary Montessori, hopefully for as long as possible. But if they do, then they will be sitting there, right, for 1 hour. And that's not normal. That's causing health havoc for us as adults when we sit for hours in office. We don't stop them from walking. We show them how to walk. Show, not tell. Guide them also. We ask them to use their walking feet. We tell them that we try to walk around mats and not on someone's mat. Another thing we do is we don't use the word no. A lot of captains at times do it, not captains, I'd say. A lot of older children at times use the word no because they listen to it a lot in the home environment. But we then guide the older children as well that you can't say no, try and rephrase. We tell them how to rephrase. No pointing fingers at anyone. Don't do like that. We don't discipline like that. That's not how it happens. So many people tell us that what. Sorry, I just lost that. So, yeah, how do we handle discipline problem? As always, within Montessori, our answers individualized to each child. What works for a Mesha doesn't work for a Samanvi. What works for a Samanvi doesn't work for a Prabhav. What works for a Prabhav doesn't work for a Hammad. What works for a Hammad doesn't work for an Arya. So it all is different. What works. So if the child is new, we frankly expect her to not be able to be disciplined till the time they are consistently coming to school and they're seeing how to be disciplined. We guide them, we show them, we respectfully help them know what the right thing is, right? Maybe. So I'm giving you some examples. A young toddler who's punching someone, right? So punching is a very common thing that young children do. To manage it, we try to be very vigilant and observant and stop it before it actually happens, and identify the root cause after stopping. So are they maybe following it from what happens at home, or have they seen another friend of theirs do it? In that case, providing sturdy guidance to them. I'm sorry, we don't punch. If I punch you, you will get hurt. If you punch me, I will get hurt. The moment the punch is coming, so we need to hold, and we need to hold it a little hard, not tightly, please. They have small hands, please be a little kind. Little hard, go to their eye level and tell them, no, I'm sorry. Um, that is not how things go. We will not punch, because there has to be a because. So here, if I've said no in one of the cases, maybe there has to be a reason, because you can't say no without a reason at all costs. Avoid saying no at all costs. And if you have to say no, then there has to be a reason that has to follow, right? Next is a 3-year-old runs and yells in the classroom. If the child is new, we may need to give him or her a more productive outlet for movement. So we give them a bucket full of water with a big brush, and to paint in the porch with the water. We help them jump on the trampoline. We may just take them and a few friends to the terrace for picking up flowers, and encourage them to use their outdoor voice outside and not inside. We at times, some children get affected by a lot of crowd around them, especially COVID. So we help them. If they are old enough, they go in the peace corner where there are fairy lights and books. If they are young, then we take them to the terrace, we sit with them, we let them cry out, but we are there to assure that they are taken care of and they are safe. A child who keeps interrupting the peers. So often this type of behavior happens when the child hasn't found an activity that's engaging enough. So our first thought would be to offer him choices, and for his mental nourishment. If that doesn't work, we may separate him or her from the peers. That's very important, because the learned behavior happens. So yes, that happens, but respectfully separating. A new child won't settle down with any activity despite our best effort. So that mostly happens when the child is not regular to school. Sometimes a child just can't seem to settle down in school. It may be when the child has joined us at an old age, 4.5 plus, or the child is not consistently regular to school. Um, so again, I lost my thought. So yeah, we keep on showing them activities to help them understand and guide them better. And we try and work with them. We try and make them sit with us. If nothing works, then what at times we just glue with the child. So we tell the child, okay, wherever I'm going, you need to come with me. So that for them is an exercise. Roll mat, spread mat, roll mat, spread mat. So that becomes difficult for them. So they can try and avoid that. Sometimes we note down the issues and we have a morning meeting where we guide them grace and courtesy lessons. This happens usually when we see that it is a problem which is affecting most of the children, not one off. A child who misbehaves is a child who needs a lot of love and care. So we understand that, and please understand that as well. We will we will not let her get away with a destructive behavior. We will not intimidate them. Instead, we will find the root cause of the problem. And lastly, I missed one of the situations where the child is damaging the material. We tell them once, please take care of the material. Twice, we sit beside them and we'll tell them a little sternly, take care of the material, please. And the third time, if they're not taking care, we remove the material. So that is a protocol that we follow. So yes, discipline can look like this also. And I request you to please send me your queries if you have any, and I'd love to hear from you. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.